Hey everybody, my name is Adam with Antique Auto. Today I'm working on stripping this 69 GS of all the paint. Let me do a quick walk around and show you what I've got going on it and kind of where I'm at as far as how I'm stripping the paint and what I'm using to do it. This is an original vinyl top car and it's had one repaint, so you can see the black top coat. There's a green hiding underneath, that's the original lacquer paint, and then there's the primer underneath that. So basically the top of the car where the vinyl top was basically just like a high build primer and the black paint on top. So that stuff literally just wiped off with the wire wheel, a knotted wire wheel. Let me show you that real quick, what I've got. I use a knotted wire wheel, 6-inch knotted wire wheel on a buffer or a 7-inch grinder, whatever you got. It's got a 5/8-inch arbor on it. Anyway, I actually did a lot of the car with just that wire wheel, and it was doing a decent job. It just got slower and slower and slower until I got to about this point where I stopped and ended up trying chemical stripping. And so that's where I'm at here. So I'll show you the process of that. All right, so over here, there's different stages of process here. So this is basically the end stage right before I actually blow the car apart. This is after 2 applications of chemical strip. This is after 1. So what I'm gonna show you is what I do with those steps, since we have kind of an inferior chemical stripper at this point that you can buy in the stores. It is the Non-Methylene Chloride formula, which they took out the good stuff. And the stripper doesn't have that good of a bite anymore, so you have to help it along. Now, since this quarter panel is it's super long, I'm only gonna do about half the panel at a time, so I'll stop about in the middle of the wheel well and then apply the plastic. So, sometimes if the stripper has trouble getting a bite into the paint, you may want to go over it with 80 grit just to give it, dig into the paint a little bit, and then it'll give somewhere for the stripper to go. I'm not having that problem on this car. It's coming right up. So what I'm going to do is just completely coat the panel from here to here, and then I'll apply the plastic. And the best thing that I've found to use is just a mason jar and paintbrush, and just go to town on it. Get it as thick as you can get it. It says to only brush in one direction. I'm not sure that really matters, especially if you're covering it with plastic, because it all just kind of melds together. And while this is setting up under the plastic, I'm going to come back on this door and apply one more coat without the plastic on it and let it sit for about 15 minutes and try to get the rest of that, those little blobs off that I missed or that didn't come up in the first application. It's almost impossible to get a super even coat, but just be super liberal with it and let it fly. Because the more you put on here, the better it works. It's really hard to do on these vertical surfaces because it all just wants to drip off, so you kind of just gotta let it do what it wants to do and deal with the mess. This stuff smells incredibly bad. It's one of my wife's favorite smells when I come in the house after a day of work doing this stuff. It's very, I can't even explain it, what it smells like. Kind of BO, rotten crotch. It's not even a chemical smell, it just smells terrible. probably going to go through about 2 gallons of this on a car if you do it all the way through. It's about 50 bucks a gallon, $47 or something. I get mine from Lowe's. Home Depot has it. Any of the auto body supply places have it. It's aircraft stripper. It's basically the same thing. I don't think any of them are any good anymore, because you've got to help them along so much. Completely cover it up, smother it. And you'll want to let this sit for about an hour. You don't want it to dry on there because you're basically going to be starting over again. Well, it definitely doesn't help anyway. So I'm going to pull this back just a little bit so I can work on the door. And yeah, I'll come back when it's time to take this off. While I'm working on this second coat on this door, I actually just take a cheap steel, any steel brush, steel wire brush, and just, this helps kind of knock off that extra lot there, and then you can squeegee it off with a filler applicator. So it comes off pretty clean like that, but that's still primer. So that's the reason I go at it with a wire wheel, just to kind of knock off that extra. Then once you get all that stuff off, you can blow the car apart and then hit it with 80 grit so you can prep the metal for your epoxy. Helps to have that plastic sitting on the ground to be able to collect this stuff, and you just roll it up and throw it away. So take that plastic that's on there from the first coat and just kind of drag it down to the floor. Then you can use it as a catch for all the garbage that comes off of this body. So once you're at this point, you can go ahead and get everything, just wipe it off dry with paper towels, whatever you got, and then go back over it with some lacquer thinner to kind of just clean up the edges. And then go at it with your wire wheel if you want to, or you can go straight at it with a DA. I like to wire wheel it off because it takes it off a lot faster. So dealer's choice on that. Okay, back at the quarter panel. So like I said, just kind of pull this stuff down. Straight down to the ground. Let it kind of fall. And we're going to use this as the catch-all for the garbage that comes off the car. Don't be discouraged if not every bit of paint comes off on your first shot because you've got another chance. You've got all the chances in the world depending on how many you want to do. But I just run it like you're plowing snow, just back and forth, send it one direction. And depending on how thick you get this stuff on here, usually, you know, the thicker it is, the better. We had initially thought that this car was just scuffed and shot, but of course now that we're doing all the excavating on the paint, I know I can see that there are a lot of areas that the car's been touched where there might have been, you know, scratches or dings or whatnot, and then they painted the car black afterwards. From what I understand, the car was painted in the mid to late 70s. It was a lime green paint with a green vinyl top, and it came to me as a black and black. Interior is buckskin. Interior color will remain the same, but it's going back to the factory colors of lime green with a green vinyl top. So that's cool. Next panel. Anyway, quick summary. That's how I normally take the paint off of these cars, and I usually like to start with trying it just with a wire wheel. Sometimes it comes off really fast. Sometimes you've got several layers of paint that requires a little bit more help. So you may want to just experiment on your own to see what works best for you in each application. So once I get everything stripped and wire wheeled, I'm going to blow the car entirely apart and DA with 80 grit the whole thing, get all the jams, everything cleaned up, and then I can epoxy prime and do body work. Anyway, thank you for watching. I appreciate all of your support, and I will see you on the next video.